sabe cazar. Yo sé sobrevivir.
Well, hello, Amber. It's a pleasure. It's Gonzalo from Cartelera in Spain. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Okay, let's go. This has to be so fast. Well, my first question is because I think you are from the Fort Peck Sioux tribe, right?
Yes.
I know it's not the same culture because in the movie I think it's Comanche culture, but how was it bringing a Native American culture to the mainstream, to the Predator franchise?
Great. I mean, yeah, I'm an enrolled member of the Fort Peck Assiniboine Sioux tribe, so that means I'm Assiniboine Sioux or Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota. And yeah, you're right. This movie is obviously about Comanche people, but the thing that shares is that they're both Plains people. So there's certain, while everything is different, like the culture and the language for sure, there are shared elements as well. Like certain things in our culture are the same. For example, like a very cool story is like the whistle. There's a scene where like my character whistles at night, and that's not a thing that you do in either my culture or Comanche culture, and that was not originally part of the movie, but we went back to reshoot that scene, and there was like something just like, oh, what can it use? What does it need? And Jhane had this idea of like, oh, what if she like whistles? And Dan was like, why? What is that? What does that mean? And she came over and she said, like, well, why don't you do this? And I was like, yeah, why? And then we talked about it, and it ended up in the movie. So getting to put, whether it's just something as small as that or as big as the feat of, having an Indigenous female action hero, and all that comes with that and everything that means, I mean, that's just, that makes me so happy. That warms my heart, and that's my personal favorite thing about this film.
I suppose you have to adapt some aspects in order to make it through the movie. But what did the culture bring to the Predator franchise, particularly, not just for the industry, but this franchise?
Yes. It brought a lot. It really did, because it makes this story. People have referred to this as a prequel, but to me, it's more like, because in our stories, in our culture, it's called an origin story. So this kind of adds to the origin of the Predator. But I had to bring a lot, everything that I've ever done in my career as a fine artist. I have, because I am a part of my Comanche Nation, I know people in every aspect, song, dance. We brought everything we could possibly do, even into the score. We had Robert Mirabal, who did those haunting chants. I mean, it was just amazing to see how big of a part that culture could play in the film.
It's also the Predator is the universe's greatest quote unquote hunter, and the Comanche were Earth's most formidable warriors, and hunters. So that brought great, not just physical prowess, but great intellect and innovation in the way that they fought and hunted. So it's kind of the most natural pairing that you would see against the two opponents.
This is also the first movie ever to have a Comanche dub. Mm-hmm. So how important is that for the Native American cultures?
I mean, important beyond words. I'm so, so, so proud of the fact that this is happening. I mean, we're the first film to release a dub in an Indigenous language at the same time as the original release. So, I mean, that first of all is historic. It's the first time that it's being done in Comanche. And to be a part of that, I just feel extremely proud and humble. I mean, preservation of language, especially for Native cultures, is huge because we are in oral storytelling people. Like, that's how our history gets passed on. That's how our languages are preserved. So to have worked with, Comanche language speakers who dedicate their lives to doing this and be able to do something historic like that in this medium is just, to me, like the best thing ever.
I think it's very important for the industry because it resets the paradigm. As soon, like in the very first films that were ever made, in fact, the very first film it was made with natives. So, you know, basically natives, our culture has been, like, I would say, mimicked or caricatured and not really the actual culture. So I am Comanche. I'm an enrolled member of the Comanche Nation. I'm also Blackfeet. So the fact that I got to work with not only just language, but every aspect of the film to make sure that it had our Comanche nuances there. What you see is a really good representation of what you would have seen, you know, in the 1700s. So for me, with representation, also this, like I said, changes that paradigm and brings more accuracy and authenticity to the native culture and Comanche culture in this film.
So, well, and what was the funniest thing about coming into the Predator franchise? Because I guess it had to be so frenetic and crazy.
It is definitely crazy. I feel like much crazier than I ever would have expected. But I mean, just, I guess all of the action, I mean, you know, every single day coming to work, there was just some incredible thing to have to accomplish, you know, whether that was like a sequence in a river or like going in a mud pit or fighting a bear, like just like crazy. I guess I didn't fight the bear, but you know, crazy things. So just, I mean, you know, never, just constantly a series of like something incredible to have to accomplish.
A few months ago, I interviewed Scott Adkins, the actor, and he told me that for him, Predator is the best action movie ever. So I think this one, Prey, also has the same spirit about this brutal, entertaining hunting. But I don't know if you have the same feeling, or were you looking for something new, something fresh, a combination of both?
I don't disagree. Predator is certainly one of the greatest action movies of all time. On top of all the other genre it puts together in a blender. And for me, I wanted this to feel much more like an adventure film, and embrace the suspense, but also really wanted to deliver on the action and find a way for Nadu to fight that was specific and particular to her. And the way that the Predator throws down is even more gnarly and ferocious in this movie than it is in the other installments. So I think there are a big variety of set pieces in this film. It's not a first act, middle act, last act thing. It is a once the gas gets going, it is nonstop, and you're getting a lot of different kinds of set pieces, which is something that I love in genre films. So I hope this delivers. I hope Scott Adkins now puts this up there with the original.
Oh, yeah, I mean, both. I didn't know that this was a Predator movie when I auditioned for it originally. So what kind of interested me about this was the fact, obviously, that Dan was directing, because I think he's an incredible director. And then all I knew was that it was a story set in 1719 about a young Comanche woman who wanted to be a hunter. And I thought that was really interesting. And I felt like, you know, I'd never done a period piece about Indigenous people before on purpose. And I felt like this was a cool way to do that, and that story and this character were really interesting. And then later I found out what it was.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So how did you react when you find out that it was a Predator and you had to fight it?
Oh, so much anxiety. I cried. I was crying, and they weren't like excited tears. It was like, I'm scared. And then I got excited.
Nice. So it's a wrap. So thank you very much. It has been an honor.
Yeah.
And congratulations, because I enjoyed the movie like a lot.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Sea lo que he hecho esto, puedo matarlo.